Hello all and welcome to Wow Crochet Designs. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are working on joining our granny squares for our granny square skirt, and this is part 2 of our skirt. If you're wanting to do part 1, that is just creating our granny squares, the very first link in the description box down below will be part 1 of our skirt, but today we are working on joining our squares together. Alright, and the way we're going to do this today is to join our square from one side of our hip all the way around back to the hip in one full piece lengthwise. So you're not going to be doing two parts where you've got your front and your back and then sewing them together. You're just going to be crocheting all the way along, turning, coming all the way back, and you're going to do that over and over and over again until you get to this spot right there. This is where you'll be at the end of this tutorial. And on Monday, we're going to be crocheting that side to the other side, and that will be the full circumference of your skirt. Now at the top here, this part right here is where your hips are, because we are going to have a little bit of a waistband, quite a bit actually, all right? And down the bottom, you will probably have 2 rows of double crochet. So at this stage, all you'll be doing is all of these together, getting to this part right here, waiting for us there, and on Monday we'll be doing the rest. And the rest is joining it together, adding your waistband, doing the little base rows, and guess what? Your skirt will be done by Monday afternoon. Yay, get excited. In the meantime, I'm going to let you go and do this skirt. You will need 3 or 4 stitch markers. It depends on whether you use them. You will need the hook that you use to crochet your squares with, and you will need a pair of scissors, and I think there's a sewing needle right there. If you are like me and have the green end still, you will need to weave that green end in. The other thing I didn't mention in part 1, do we block our squares before we do the join as you go? Ordinarily, yes, I do, okay? I do ordinarily, but this time to get the skirt out there, I haven't blocked my squares. Now people say, oh, it's not necessary. Well, check this square here out. To me, it's a little tight. Whether I crocheted that row a little tighter, I checked all the stitches there, but whether I crocheted a little tighter meant you can even see that popping up a little bit. So I would suggest washing and blocking your squares. All right, I'm not going to talk now. I'm going to let you head off on your own and get creating, and I will see you. Oh, by the way, if you're wanting to join us on our lives at 10 a.m. Melbourne, Australia time on Saturdays and 4 p.m. Melbourne, Australia time on Wednesdays. So in the meantime, I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm just going to let you head off on your own and create this gorgeous join as you go. Good luck, guys. Alrighty guys, just had to take the camera off the stand for this part here, just to letting you know that this is my skirt. Well, no, this is not true. This is half of my skirt. This is the front of my skirt. Now mine measured enough for 5 squares across the front and 5 squares across the back using my largest measurement, which was my hips. Okay, so we have 4 going down, 5 going across. In this tutorial here, if you haven't got all your squares complete, don't stress too much, because really I'll only be showing you the 1 row and then part of the 2nd row, and then you can head off on your own, finish off the squares and do the rest of them yourself. But in the meantime, we're just going to do 1 row. When I say 1 row, I don't just mean that 1 row. I mean that 1 row and the next 5 squares across. So actually you're doing the full circumference of 1 row today. You're not going this way and then turning and going this way and then doing a 2nd piece and then sewing them together. No, you are doing the 1 row all the way across. So initially you will need, and I'll show you now, you will need 1 row of the main colour, and it doesn't matter what colour you're using, just do 1 row on 1 square only, and then the rest we'll be doing join as you go. So I'll pause it for a moment. Alrighty guys, I can't really fit all this in the camera, but this is actually the full circumference of the width of my skirt, okay, when it's laid out nice and straight, yeah? Now the way we're going to do it is we're going to start, firstly we're going to do one square with one round and just complete it, okay? Just complete one round on one square only. Then you're going to join me back here. We're going to start in that space before the corner. We're going to join our square from the space before the corner, and then we're going to go across this way. We're going to go up. We're not going out, just going up. We're attaching, and we're going down, around, up, attach, down, around. I'm going to do that all the way until we get to here. We're not going to come out. We're just going to attach our very next 10 squares all the way across. Then we're going to attach our next 10 squares, and then our next 10 squares until we get to the width. Alrighty, so what I want you to do now, grab all the squares you need for one row only, and let's get joining. Now that we have our 10 squares, remove 8. Okay, remove 8, making sure you have one square with one round only of the square that you want to start with. Okay, so do your one round, okay, and then we'll get joining. All right, it doesn't matter what side of your squares that you want to join. I'm only going to start from the knot just to give you an idea of where we're starting from, okay? But it's not necessary for you to start here. You can start there, whatever. I just wanted to show you exactly where we're starting so that you understand. Let's move the white out the way, or cream, whatever you want to call that color. Let's grab our cream. Starting in that little spot right there, which is the space before, there's your corner, it's the space before your corner. Now I'm going to crochet over that tail a little bit, and then I'm going to weave it in afterwards. That's what I do with my last tail. It wasn't necessary, you could have weaved yours in, but that's the way I do it. Pass your little one thread forward. Now you know this part because we've done this part in all our squares where we attach, yeah, but still we're going to chain up 3, 1, 2 and 3, and we're going to grab our stitch marker. That stitch marker may be a tad annoying throughout the tutorial. Sorry guys, it'll drag along the cardboard, but I just wanted it to be there so that you can see it at the end of the row and know that's exactly where we started, and that won't happen for a long time yet. It's going to be there for a very long time. So yarn over your hook, popping 2 double crochets in that space like normal, 1 and 2. And there you've got your cluster set. Just pop that tail at the back now. Jumping into the corner with your normal set, 1, 2, and 3. Holding it there, like that. Chain 1. Now this is where I want you to grab your square that you are working with right there. Okay, it's a little tricky, this part. The initial starting is tricky, the rest will be easy, okay? Once you get the hang of it, the rest will be easy. You've already chained 1, so you're going to grab your square anywhere you want, and you're going to attach your square to the other square, all right? So I'm just going to, so you can see what I'm doing, I'm going to do it 2 different ways so you can see. From the top, you're popping your hook in, and then you're just pulling that loop through the whole thing. That's one way so you can see it, because not everybody can see things like that. Or you can grab your square like this, and you're going from the top piece like so, making sure your thread is in front of you, popping your hook from the top, grabbing a thread, and you are pulling the thread through the space and through to the stitch that's on your hook. Chain 1, yarn over your hook, continue your 3 double crochets in that space. It's just a little tricky, this one section, and then the rest becomes a little easier. Do your 2 and your 3 double crochets. So what you have, whoops, don't lose your stitch like I just did. What you have is that. Now if you did that stitch too loose, it's going to look terrible. If you did it too tight, it's going to pull too much. So make sure your tension is even, but it is better to have it a tiny little bit tighter than loose. Okay, I hope that makes any sense. So what you're going to do here is you're going into the direct opposite space that is empty. So your next empty space is there. Okay, so you're popping your hook in that space. Let me get you a nice close-up. Popping your hook in that space. Now you don't have to do it on the the board like this on the table. I'm just doing to show you which way you pop your hook in. You're not putting your hook this way, all right? You're popping it over the top of your work, all right? And then you're grabbing your stitch and pulling it through to the space and the stitch and just tighten it a little bit, yeah? Then you double crochet your cluster set in the next space on your piece, being careful not to leave things too loose, okay? Again, 2 and 3. Now let's do it off the board so you can see what I'm doing. Again, another way, into the space, pull that little loop through, give it a tug because you want it nice and tight, and then you are going straight into your next space with 3 double crochets. 1, that might have been too loose, but we'll see, 2 and 3. So it's probably good that I show you one that's too loose so you can see what it looks like. It's actually not too bad, but you see, you can see that space is a little loose, that one there. When you join it, it won't be too noticeable, but this stitch itself must be tight, okay? Just a heads up there. Oops. All right, so we're going to start again with the opposite corner. There's the next space right there in the opposite corner. So we're going to pull that loop through, pull it through to the loop, pull it through to the space and the loop on your hook, tighten it up a little bit, and then straight into your next space. 1, 2, and 3. We're coming to the corner. It looks like it's not going to measure up, but it will, trust me. Straight into your next space, pull that loop through. It looks like it's not going to line, does it? It does. Put your first cluster set in the corner, just 1, 2, and 3. Then you're chaining 1 because it's a corner. So that space right there is your corner space. You're going to pop your hook in, pull your loop through like you're doing a normal space. Chain 1. Yes. Turn your work to the side. Make sure it's nice and tight. And do your last 3 double crochets in that corner. 1, 2, and 3. Just do 3 double crochets in your next space there for a minute. I can show you exactly where you are, and you can have a look-see and see what the difference is, just in case yours is not correct. The look you're going for is that, where you can have a tiny little gap, but it's not so much. Even if it stretches, you can't see as much. It's not a very big gap, and it's still giving you the flat join, and it gives you a neat look here if you've got a nice tight loop. If it's too loose, you're going to have massive gaps and everything's going to look all loopy, and that's going to stretch eventually, so just be wary, yeah? So that's what you're doing with this square. Now, let's just show you what you're going to do from here. You're going to, let's grab another square so you know where we're headed. You're going to continue along, bring that out a bit. You're going to join this over here, come up this way. Don't go around and join. No, you're going to just join right across this way, coming down this way, joining as you go, of course, coming out, doing the exact same thing over and over again until you get to your 10th square. And then I'll explain what we're going to do next. All right. So let's just do this next square. All right. We'll just complete this square here. So you're just completing this side, 2 and 3, and then your 3 in there, 1, 2, and 3. Oops, oops, oops. I don't know what I did there. All right, and then you're jumping straight into your corner as if you're completing a normal square, but you're not going to do the whole square. Just do that first corner, chain 1 and 2, finish the first corner, 2, 3, Go into your next with 3 double crochets. And your next. And your next. And now you're at your last corner. We're just going to start it with 3 double crochets only. 1, 2, and 3. Holding it there. Now remember when we were looking at it like that. Yes? I'm going to pop mine there. I want my little thread to be up the top. Not for any reason, I'm just being fussy. Yep. Oh, I'm not even in frame. Hello. Let's bring it out a bit. There you go. So that's what you're looking at. All right, so let me just bring that over here a little bit. We've come down here, we've gone across there and up. Instead of going across and joining it as a slip stitch there, we're just going to chain our 1, join it in here, come back this way, you know, slip stitching as we go, like we did there. Slip stitch into that corner there, do a row, and then go back up this way, doing exactly the same thing, across. We're never joining this section here, and we're never joining this section here. But when we come across, when we do our next row, our next set of squares, we will be joining this section. Don't worry about that for now. All I want you to remember is this part here, which we're going to do together. I'm not going to leave you out in a lurch. It's all right. So grab your 3rd square, just leave it opposite this piece where we are right now. We've done our 3 double crochets, yes. So now we're going to do chain 1, turning your work so they're facing each other. Yeah. Oh, I should have done that in long distance so you can see. This is where you were, yeah? So you're turning your whole piece, like so. And you're just going to put 3 double crochets in there, that first corner, all right? So you've chained your 1, you're popping 3 double crochets in that corner. 1, 2, 3. Okay, hold it there. And that's what you have. Also, guys, I did forget to mention that you are working on the right sides of your work. Okay, just a heads up there. Okay, so where you are is right there. Okay, just being careful that you're not accidentally have turned your work and you're working along this way. Okay, you are working like that. Okay, so your next spot to put in is right opposite your piece. Okay, the very next space you see, you're popping your hook in. Yeah, so do that, pop your hook in, do your slip stitch, pulling it through like so, giving it a nice tight tug, and off you go into your next space with your 3 double crochets. So initially it is a bit tricky, but after a while you get into the flow of it all. So right into your next space, pulling your loop through, just making sure you give it a tug, you don't want it too loose, and you are doing your normal set in your next space. The flow does get easier, I promise. I promise. You like that? I promise. Oh, she's making promises she can't keep. All right, so the very next space right there, how terrible am I? Pulling your loop through nice and tight, like so. Into your next space, we're getting close to that corner. 1, 2, and 3. There's one more space before the corner. Pull your loop through. We're now going to hop into the corner of our green, or whatever colour you're using. 1, 2, and 3. So now we're going to go into that next corner, but before we do, we need to chain 1. Always remember to chain 1 before you hop into a corner, and chain 1 when you hop out of a corner. So there's your corner, you pop your hook in the corner, pull that loop through, and then tighten it up. Chain 1, hop out of the corner, turn your work to the side, and then nice and tight, don't want that too loose, you're doing your 3 double crochets in the corner. That's your second set your second cluster set of 3 double crochets in that corner. Just do 1 in your next space, and then I'm going to talk about what you're going to do next. Very simple. All right, so what I want you to do is, so your job now is to complete this. In fact, I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's pop a stitch marker right here. Okay, so what I want you to do, continue along that corner there, get to this corner, and I'll meet you up here in a moment. Alrighty, so here we are at the corner. Now I haven't completed my corner. Let's do a nice close-up. All right, I got to the corner. I'm going to take out my corner stitch marker for now. All right, and this is where I am, and this is where you should be. All right, that's your corner there. You're going to pop 1 cluster set in that corner. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1. All right, now this is where we are. Grabbing yet again another square, yeah? In that first corner, whichever corner that may be for you, you are putting 3 double crochets. Don't do this too loose. It's got to be done nice and tight, that first double crochet. And then off you go doing your second and your third. Okay, so that's what you have. Facing it to each other. Turning your work to the side a little bit, jumping into that very first space you see, like so, pulling a loop through, tighten it up a little, and do your very next double crochet in your next set there. 1, 2, 3. And straight into your next set. Now you guys pretty much know this is just copying each square now until we get to the 10th square. So guess what? I'm going to leave you on your own to do the rest. What? No, seriously. Let's get to that corner first. And then let's turn to the side. So we're still doing our normal side. So just continue this section here. 2, 3, slipping into the next space, pull that loop through like so. Being careful not to split yarn because that can happen with this particular join. Now you're jumping into your corner and you're starting your corner with 3 double crochets only, and 3. Then you're chaining 1, slip stitching into the corner, pull that loop through, chain 1, nice and tight, turn your work to the side and working along the side. 1, 2, and 3. All right, my theory is that you've got it, you understand what you're doing. Okay, I'm going to stop it right here. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop a time up here in a minute, and in that time what I want you to do is to continue along with each square. Well, let's just fold these over and pretend like it goes right across. Continue along with each square like so until you do all 10 or 11 or 6 or 8, whatever squares you had for the full circumference of 1 row of your skirt. Now I ended up with 10, so I'll have 10 squares all the way across. I'm not really sure what you will have, but I will have 10 squares. All right, so your job now is to continue along this way. When you get to the 10th square, now let's do it this way because this is how you'll end up at the end of each square. All right, you'll end up like that, attaching to the next, attaching to the next and the next. By the time you get to your 10th square, you need a stitch marker for this. Popping your stitch marker there, all right? So by the time you get here, you've done that part there, you're coming around here. Don't go around there and join, don't do that. Just get to that corner, do your 3 double crochets, chain 1, and wait for me there, okay? So do all of your squares for this one side only, get to this corner right here on the 10th square, and I shall meet you back here in a moment. Alrighty guys, so here's my row all the way down here. Now remember I asked you to get to that corner right there. And I said perform your corner and do a chain one and meet me there. Okay, I haven't done that, which I'm going to do now. So I'm going to start my corner with doing a double crochet, 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1. Let me pull it up again so you know where we're at. From here, what you actually have is, that is the full, let me bring it around so I can show you, circumference of your skirt. What I want you to do now is grab your piece and just pop it around your hips, not your waist, your hips. Now the reason is because this part here needs to be able to fit, can we bring it in? No, okay. Needs to be able to fit around your hips because the rest of this part here is going to go right up to our waist. We're going to be crocheting all the way up to our waist. Not now, this will happen once we've joined all our squares and once we've formed the actual skirt in the circumference in full. Then we'll start working on the top part and we will be raising that up a lot higher than what it already is. So if you're thinking that this is your waist, when you want to do that, the border rows with me, you're going to have this much over on top and you're going to think, oh, that's really high up. So that's not your waist, that is only your hip measurement. All right, so your waist is coming. That's why I said make sure this is your largest measurement. All right, hopefully this is making sense for you. But in the meantime, let's go back to where we were so you know what we're doing. Now that you know that side there is going to be joined on the other side, we're not going to do that side now at all. What we're going to do is start grabbing our next, oh, that's too high up, our next 10 squares. And we are now officially going to work this way, back the other way, which means we'll be going across here, joining this way, coming down, joining this way, going back up, and joining that way, then coming around and so on. And that's exactly what we're going to do until we get to our very 10th square right there. And I'll pop my next stitch marker, my white stitch marker, and I'll pop it right here. We don't need to worry about that yet. I'll bring this square back out later, all right? What we need to worry about for now is starting our join for the next section, all right? So let's start. This is where you've ended. We're not going up this way. We're going to start our very next square on the next row. So the next set of 10 squares. Got everything all over the place. All right, so we're here, right here. We've done our 3 double crochets, our chain 1. All right, so that's where we are now, yeah? That's the square I want to join it this way. I want my square to go down there, yeah? So all I'm doing is joining our very next square to this piece, like so. So start your corner, 1, 2, 3. Turn your big piece around and just work into your very next piece right there. Oh, let's try that again. Work into that piece right there. Just tightening everything up. Jumping straight into your next space like normal. And let's do a close-up of this part because this part's going to be a little tricky when we get to the corner, okay? So finish off that space, 2, 3, actually, you know what I might do? Just pass this down so it's not in your visual. Does that make any sense? Otherwise it's going to start blurring everything. Jumping straight into your next space with a slip stitch. Cluster into your next. Now this is the lingo I'm using. A cluster is just one set of 3 double crochets. Stay focused on lingo, guys. Slip stitch into your next. Oh, yeah, let's try that again. Slip stitch Oh, talking about lingo and I can't do it, the crochet right. Here we go. Cluster into your next. 1, 2, and 3. I'm sorry, I will slow down. I'm rushing just to get the corner done for you so you know what you're doing. I'm very naughty. So slip stitch into your next space like so. Now we're jumping into our corner. This is our first corner. So you're doing your first corner, your first cluster set in the corner for now. Right, and then chain your 1 like normal. Now just quickly having a look at where it's sitting. All right, the way it works is for this piece here, you are going to join it in the corresponding corner. All right, so that is your corresponding corner. When we do our next piece, that will be joined into this corresponding corner. So don't worry about that. I'm just giving you an idea of where I want your first slip stitch to go. Okay, so your first slip stitch doesn't go in there, it goes directly into the opposite corner. So you're slip stitching like normal, but you're going into the opposite corner only. Looks a little awkward now, it should sort itself out later. Chain 1, nice tight tug, continue your corner in the corner space that you were in before. You did your slip stitch. And 3. So let me show you what you've done there. All you've done is join from here to there. You haven't actually joined in that one. When we come back around, that's going to be joined together. All right, but for now, just continue along this piece right here. 2, I'm sorry, I'll slow down. 3, and then 1 in there. When I'm off air, I go so fast that I forget that I'm on air. Sorry, guys. You're thinking, what is wrong with this chick? She's a crazy lady. All right. Okay, 2. Hey, I never said I was normal. 3. Jump into the corner. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1. All right, now that's what you have. All right, so you've joined your first square. Grab your next one, okay? And you're going to do pretty much the same thing. You're going to start from here, you're going to work your way down and join in there. Now that's okay. So what I want you to do, and we're going to do it together, this piece here, and then you're going to head off on your own and do the next 8 squares, all right? But for now, we're going to do this piece together. And this is the repeat, okay? So you're on your corner, you've done your corner, you've done a cluster of 3 and a chain 1, and then you're jumping into your very next corner of your next square, and you are doing your 3 double crochets. 2 and 3. Then you are slip stitching right into the very next space like so, making sure you give that slip stitch a tug, and then your cluster in the next space. 2 and 3. Let me adjust this piece so you can see what I'm doing. Slipping right into that very next space. It's a little tricky now because your piece is getting bigger. Okay, and wait till we join the whole thing. That's going to be even trickier. Okay, 3, and then you are slip stitching into the next space, making sure you're going in all the right spaces. See how I had to check then? Check exactly where I was going. 1, 2, and 3. Now this is where we're getting into that complete join soon. Go into your next space first. It looks like it's not going to make it, but it does. 1, 2, 3. Now we're in the corner here, don't forget. Chain 1, hold it there. All right, now this is our corner. I should have known better. White. cream. Does not look good on camera. Let's get it closer. All right, so we are here. So now what we're going to do, we're going to skip over all of this and we're slip stitching right into that opposite corner. It's the opposite corner, not the opposite piece, but the opposite corner. All right, so I'm hoping this is making sense. So all you're doing, you've changed your one already. You're skipping all of this, jumping right over that opposite corner. Bit tricky. And then you're pulling a loop through, giving everything a really big tug here, because this will be noticed if you don't do this. Then chaining one, giving that a tug, and then you are continuing your cluster set in that corner, like so. 1, 2, 3, and then you're just going right into the opposite space. And again, 1, 2, 3, and in the opposite space. 1, 2, 3, and in the opposite space. See, I had to check there. Always check if you're not sure. Normally, if you're not sure, it means you're probably going to make a mistake. You may not. You may work perfectly for you. But normally it means, you're pretty sure that something doesn't look right, okay? Jumping straight into the next square. Not always. You might be perfect in every way. And now we're getting into the corner. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1. Now remember what we did before. We're jumping in the opposite corner, not the opposite square, but the opposite corner. So turning your work a little bit, you've changed your one already. There's your opposite corner. Yep. Pulling that loop through, just making sure you give it a big tug. Right there. Chain 1, again, big tug. And then continue your double crochet in that corner. 1, 2, and 3. And another set in your next space. 3. Now, if you've weaved over your ends, that's fine, but mine is not weaved in yet. Just that last end, all the other ones are. So I'm going to be crocheting over the tail. Later I'll be weaving that tail in as well. You don't have to worry about that. There's my tail. I'm just going to crochet over it. Right into the very next space with your 3 double crochets. 2 and 3. And then 1 cluster set in the corner. Just 1, 2, 3, chain 1. All right, so let's show you what you have right now. That is your join right there. Your join should look that gorgeous. If it's lagging this way or lagging this way, it means you've done it too loose. You want a nice tight look like that. Don't be scared to just undo it and do it again. Seriously, because there's nothing worse than having threads sticking out. Really, there's nothing worse. Alrighty guys, so now what I would like for you to do, and this is the interesting part. I'm going to pop a time up here in a minute, not now. I want you to grab all of your squares that you need for this row only. So all 10 squares, let's pretend like all 10 squares are there. So you're going to continue that all the way up until you get to, let's say this is your last square. You've joined them all the way across till you get to your last square. All right, and that's what you should have. So you'll be coming up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. You'll get here, you'll do this side, then you'll come down, then you'll come all the way across, grab another stitch marker, pop it in this piece right here, right there. That will remind you when you get to that stitch marker there, stop right there, meet me back here, and then I'll show you exactly what we're going to do next. After that, you're going to be on your own. So what I need you to do is to repeat all of what we saw there, and I'll pop the time up there right now. Do all of your work, but get to this stitch marker right here, and I'll meet you back here in a moment. So go and check that time right there, and we'll meet you back here soon. Alrighty guys, check it out. Pretty coolio, yes? Making sure that everything is nice and neat. Oh, I forgot to mention. Okay, when you are working this stitch, and this is the only negative to this stitch, because everything else is a positive. If you make a mistake right up here somewhere, right there, don't think anything of it. You're missing a double crochet. You've got too many double crochets in there. It's easy to do. It's an easy mistake. Then you get all your rows done and you're almost finished and you want to fix that mistake. You have to take all of this all undone. So really make sure that everything is correct. Okay, it's really important, guys, because I've done that mistake before. And for those of you who have seen my crochet Granny Square crochet jumper, and I'll just show you a picture right there. Oh, how gorgeous is that? So for those of you who've seen that, I made that mistake in that jumper really early on in the pattern. So there you go. And it can happen. It's a total different join, that jumper. This is the open join. The jumper's more join as you go with each double crochet. Now, if you wanted to do that join, I've left a link, the very first link that you come to in the description box down below of that join, and you can do that one instead of this. But this one to me is a lot easier for newbies. Those of you who are joining us new will find this one 10 times easier. Trust me. Trust me. All right. So I asked you to get to this little piece right here. Let me take that undone for now and give you a close-up. Now, I haven't finished my section. Okay. My part, whoops. The part I need to finish is in there. Pull that loop through. Now let's try that again. Pull it through. Hello. And we're jumping directly into the corner where that stitch marker, the blue stitch marker was, and doing our corner like normal. Whoops. That's a half double. Let's try that again. Don't change the stitch right now, Mary. Too late. All right. So we're finishing off the corner. Chain 1. And we're joining into that corner like normal. Chain 1. And this time we are turning our work to the side. So see what I've done? I've joined the corner, turning the work to the side, and we are actually working along this side. And it's only for this side that we're working along this side, and I'll explain that to you in a moment. But just work along the side. All the way, all the way, all the way across the side. I'm going to go a little bit faster for you. I just want to get to the end of this side fairly quickly. She says that she's made a mistake. Hello. You had one job. All right, here we go. All the way across, nearly there. I've got this thread there. You don't have to worry about it. I do. And I'm just going to crochet over it and weave that in again as well later. Okay. Heads up, guys, don't just crochet over them, weave them in. Get into the corner, start your corner. Don't even do the chain, just do your 3 double crochets for now, and I'll explain what you're going to do in a moment. Pull up your loop, take that stitch marker out. All right, I just wanted to, I just pulled a thread there, I'm going to have to take that undone. Oh, dearie me. All right, so what I wanted to show you was this side here does not have the double crochets on the edges, but on the opposite side it does, because when we're done, and now this is the real tricky part, when we finish all 4 rows we're going to be joining that side to that side. It is a little tricky, but it's not completely difficult because it's going to be the same way as you would along there. You're going to be joining it along there. You just have to hold it differently because you've got all this down there later. And don't worry, I won't be leaving you in the lurch. We'll be doing it together. All right. So that's that part there. This next row is the easiest row out of the whole project, I think. Well, no, not true. Not true. Later when we do our border rows, that will be easy. Let me just take this undone because I pulled a thread. I was very naughty. I was very, very naughty. I'll just do my 3 double crochets and get to where you were. So there's our 3 double crochets. Okay. We're going to treat this row like we're doing double crochet rows, and it's the whole entire piece. So you're chaining 1 and 2, completing your corner with 3 double crochets. Relax. Now, like I said, this is a very easy row. You're going to be putting your clusters all along the side, but when you get to the middle section where you get to the corner of each piece, I'll explain what you're going to do there, but just popping your clusters in every cluster space that you see, like so. And 3. I'm going to hold it there so you can catch up. And let me get my piece ready. All right, so we are officially a space away from the corner. We've done that last space, and now we're going to start that corner. Yes, it's very similar to some of our past join as you go, where, now let's bring it up so you can see what we do here. You jump in and start your cluster set like normal. 1, oh, that's really, really close, sorry. 2, and 3. You really only need this part to be close. You're going to chain your 1 like normal. Now remember that chain 1, hopefully you remember to do that, in between each cluster set. You're going to pop your hook in that chain 1, pull a loop through, and pull it through to the loop on your hook. So you're slip stitching into the chain 1, then you are chaining 1, and then you are finishing your cluster set. Let me do that again so you know what you're doing. And I'll get another angle that might help you too. So there's your double cluster set. There's your chain 1. So we're chaining 1 to get into the corner. Yes. And if you look very carefully, you can see that chain 1. And all you're doing is popping your hook through 2 loops and 1 loop on the bottom. Pulling your loop through and pulling it through to the loop on your hook. Chain 1. Making sure you keep it nice and tight. Don't leave that area too loose. Don't do it too tight because it'll tug. Just do your normal cluster set in that corner there. So what you did, you completed that corner, chain 1, slip stitched into that chain 1, chain 1, and completed the second corner. All right? And that's pretty much all this row is. And then you're not going to stop and do, turn around and do other things. Nope. You're just going to keep going all the way across the row, all the way down to the last square. Now let me show you that join one more time. Just pull that little thread back there. I'm just going to crochet over it. It doesn't affect you at all. And let's just keep going. That's really loose. Sorry, guys. Let's try that again. Can't take me anywhere. Anywhere but out, they say. All right, so last cluster set before the corner is right there. All right, so there's our corner, yes? So we're going to jump into the corner, finish this corner on this square with the 3 double crochets, chain 1, find the chain 1 in between the 2 cluster sets, which is right there. Pull that loop through, pull it through to the loop on your hook, gentle tug, chain 1, gentle tug, finish the cluster set in your very next square. All right, super duper easy. I told you this row's easy. I didn't lie. Well, I don't think I did. I didn't lie much. How's that? Oh, you like that? All right, that's it. All right, well, let me bring that out. Okay, that's pretty much all you need to do. Look at that. And that's what I want you to do. Super duper easy. Grabbing your stitch marker again. You're going to do that all the way across. When you get to that corner, right there, don't complete it. Oh, let's get up there a bit. Don't complete it. Get to that corner, do your 3 double crochets, chain 1, and meet me right there in a moment. All right, go ahead and do that row, and I'll meet you there in a moment. Alrighty guys, you should have that whole side complete. And I asked you to get to the corner, get all these threads out the way, with your stitch marker in, and do your 3 double crochets and 1 chain. Yes? So remember on this side how we went across and we went over the side and that was it? This side we're not doing it, remember? One side we are, the other side we're not. So what we're going to do, grab another square. This is your very next row. So you're going to start doing your next row. The rest is kind of repetitive. So I'm going to show you where we're at and then I'm going to send you off on your own for the big final repetitive section. All right. So grab in your next piece and just jumping straight into, without any threads everywhere, straight into the very next corner. Making sure you chain your 1 before you started, yeah. And then do your corner laxo, 3 double crochets. Yes. Now don't forget you need to move your piece around. Oops, like that. You need to move your piece around like so. And then jump straight into the side that we just finished completing. Yes, making sure you keep that stitch fairly tight and not loose. 2 and 3. Straight into that next section, right there with your slip stitch. You should be a genius at this slip stitching now, yeah? 2 and 3, she says as she messes it up. Look at this, see what this before I messed up so badly that I ended up having to cut my work, which is really annoying because it can all be done in one piece. Because I pulled really tight and I couldn't get the knot undone. I had to cut it. Sorry, just a little bit of trivia there about me. And slip stitching right into the very next space. 2. I find cotton tends to do that a lot. Tends to knot itself all by itself. No one bothers it, it just sits there and knots itself. All right, oops, that didn't work. Let's try that again. Slip stitch into your space. All right, we are now officially, let me move everything out the way so you can see, in the corner. I'm going to complete the corner with our 3 double crochets, 2 and 3, chain 1. Now remember what we do here in the corner. See, now it's a bit big, it's a bit awkward. We're going in the corresponding corner. We're not going in this stitch here. We're just jumping straight into that corresponding corner. Pop your hook in, pull a loop through, nice tight loop, chain 1, tighten that up as well, and then straight into your space, finishing off your corner. All right, let me move all this out the way and just work along the side of this piece here. 1. I'm going to try and rush it because I want to get to the end of this side so that we can attach our next piece. So all the way across, I'm rushing it. Sorry guys. I just want to get to the end for you. Get to the corner. When you're there, I'll just pause it here for you now. Oh, I won't, you will. All right, so when you get to your corner, you grab another square, okay? And you're going to attach like normal. I mean, this is the easy part. You know how to do this. You've been doing it all along. So attaching is not the fussy bit. It's just when we get to those corners that you need to be careful where you're putting your piece, your slip stitch, I should say. Slipping in that space right there. Like so. Whoops, no, we're not going to the corner. We're going straight into the next space. 2 and 3. Oh, I'm pulling up a loop like a duffer. Straight into your next. You'd think by now I know what I was doing. Oh dear, straight into that next space. Okay, with a slip stitch 3 doubles in the next, or a cluster set using the jargon. Someone asked me what jargon meant the other day. Jargon just means the language. Okay. Slip stitch in there. Oh, it doesn't want to work for me today. Hello. I'm even coming out of frame. I'm doing well today. All right, there's our corner. We're going to complete the corner. 1, whoops, 2. I'm sorry, we're not going to complete it. We're going to start the corner. Mary, wake up. All right, then we're going to chain 1. And right there is our 3 corners, yeah? This needs to go in the opposite corner. So don't worry about any of that side at all. Just jumping straight into that opposite corner. And we're chaining 1. I get a nice tight tug. And then we are 3 double crochets in this corner. We are completing this corner now, not before, but now. Yeah. And then we are slip stitching into the opposite side of our main piece and continuing along the way. 2, 3. I keep coming out of frame. Sorry, guys. It's what happens when the piece gets bigger. You tend to, spread it along the table. Let me just bring this out for you so you know what I'm doing. Okay. Well, you know what I'm doing here. I'm just trying to catch up to an area where I was before. Okay. 2, 3. Whoops. Let's try that again. 2 and 3. Okay, and now let me straighten this up a little. We need to chain 1 first. Yes. Okay. Once again, because this is our 3rd square, 1, 2, 3, we are joining right opposite that way. It's an easy join, this one. Like so. Chain 1. And now we are completing that corner. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 in the next space. Whoops. Try the 3. Finish it off. And 3 in the next. And 3 in the next. And 3 in the next. Chain 1, pull up your loop, get ready for some massive instruction. When I say massive, well, I mean pretty much massive. All right. So, massive meaning big, because I would like for you now. Can I bring this out anymore? No, I can't. All right. To complete this side, yep, go all the way up. Do what we did before. You're going all the way up, then you're turning. You're turning here and you're completing that section there. You're getting to this corner and then you're going to start that side. You know how you join, you crocheted a whole row right across there and you slip stitched into the corner all the way across? That's what you're going to do. Then you're going to turn around and do it all again. All right? For as many rows as you have with your squares. When you get to your very last piece should look like, let me show you. Let's pretend like we've done them all. Yeah, should look like that. Right? This is my, I'm trying to fit all 4 rows in. I can't fit them in. This is my 4 rows. Your very last piece you should come to will be there. And then you're going to come all the way along here, but not going to worry about it. Just pop your stitch marker in there. All right. So do all your rows. When you get to this section here, we'll get one more stitch marker. All right. And we'll pop it in this one and in this one right here. When you get to those last 2 pieces there, finish that corner, get to this corner, and then wait for me there, and we will talk about what we're going to do next to finish off and join our other side. So we're going to join the whole piece together. All right, so go ahead and do all that, and I will meet you back here on Monday right here, and we will talk about the rest of our skirt. Too exciting. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and do all those wonderful things that you guys, well, pretty much already do for me. And all I want to say right now is can't wait to finish our skirt. Ciao for now.